and know me so well. Okay, I'm gonna mute everyone, but I need to unmute Carol. And I'm gonna put, okay, so we're already on speaker view. So, all right, Carol, take it away.
All right. Well, thank you, Melody, for inviting me to participate in your meeting this evening. I was really excited to have a chance to see you all and share with you some information that hopefully is going to make a difference in your business. But before we get started, I just want to say, do you guys really know how lucky you are to have Melody as your leader? I mean, there are people all over the country who they would kill to have a leader like Melody. So I hope you don't take her for granted. I hope you realize how lucky you are. And even more importantly, I hope you take advantage of everything Melody has to offer. Because if you stay under her wing, I can just about guarantee you success in this business. So anyway, Melody asked me to share with you some training that I did at our Director Day this year. It was a few weeks ago. And one of the things that I think is important to know is that if you do choose to promote to director, this training becomes available to you as well. Every year, I put together a special event for all of our directors all the way down line. So if you're 400 generations under Melody, it doesn't matter. You'll still be invited to come. We had about 40 directors come to Dallas for the event, and several of them actually are on this call. And I just want to take a very quick minute. If you went to the meeting, can you quickly unmute yourself and just very quickly tell everyone why they want to go and be a part of it next year?
I'll go first.
Thanks, Tony.
Honestly, the most favorite part for me is being with my sister directors across the nation, getting to meet all of them. And that first night we spend in the hotel, I mean, we stay up till midnight, 1 o'clock, you know, just getting to know each other, sharing secrets and tips and things like that. And then, of course, the wealth of knowledge from Miss Carol Radu. So we take away so much knowledge that day that it's, I mean, just overflow. You know, I have to go back and into my notes and reread it all over again because it's a lot, but it's amazing. So thank you for what you do, Carol.
Thank you, Tony.
And this was my first time, so I got to meet a lot of the people that are on Carol's calls, so that was wonderful. And then in addition to what they said, but then also the next morning, she had demonstrations about how to do in-home parties with the new products, and that was fascinating too.
Good, glad. I'm so glad that you guys came and were a part of it. So I'm going to tell you that I am going to try to do the impossible tonight. And that is condense about 5 hours, 4.5 hours worth of training into 1 hour. So I am going to go kind of quickly. And I will, what my goal is that to leave a little bit of time at the end to answer any questions that you may have. But I heartily recommend that you have pen and paper in hand so that you can take notes, because I am going to move fast. And this information, I think, is really important. Melody, why did you want all of your people to have this information?
Well, because I have been in the business for 8 years this month, and I had some really eye-opening moments when I heard some of this information, and she may point some of that out as she gets into it. But even for me, I was like, oh my gosh, holy cow, I've been doing this wrong for 8 years. So, but it hit me enough to know that this is something that I want for all of you to hear in your business early on, so that you don't wait 8 years and go, wow, I should have been doing this all along. Okay, so that's the main reason.
Okay. All right. So what is this all about? This is a new and different way of not only looking at goals, but setting them, and much more importantly, achieving them. How many of you cringe when you hear, just raise your hand if you fit this category. How many of you cringe when you hear the word goal? Or somebody says it's time to set goals. You want to run in the other direction. Okay, I understand that. And why? Why is it that we run and we're terrified to set goals? It's mostly because a lot of us have set goals in the past and not achieved them. And when we don't achieve them, we don't feel good. Not only don't we feel good, we don't feel good about ourselves. And a lot of us are really hard on ourselves, and we beat ourselves up for not achieving the goal that we set. The question, though, is, are you setting the right goal? And more importantly, once you set that goal, are you developing a plan so that you can actually achieve it? Why is it so important to set goals? I want you to really listen to this sentence and see how it sinks into you. Setting and achieving goals is the difference between getting what you want out of life and just going through life feeling like life is just passing you by. So I want to repeat that. Setting and achieving goals is the difference between getting what you want out of life and just going through life feeling like life is just passing you by. In other words, that you just have to take what is thrown your way rather than going out and getting what you want. And that's really what I hope for you, is that you will decide what you want and then create this plan to go out and get it. So Melody asked you to do a little bit of homework, and I hope you did that, because if you didn't, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to actually create a plan now. However, I want you to, even if you didn't do the homework, I want you to stick with me, because you then hopefully going through this hour, you'll be inspired enough to go back and figure out what it is you really want to work towards. And then you'll know how to create the plan to get what you want, okay? And before we really dive into it, I also want to make an important distinction between business goals and personal goals. business goals and personal goals. An example of a business goal would be to promote to director. An example of a personal goal would be to, I don't know, perhaps pay off some debt, or, save to get a new house, or pay off a car, or get a new car. Those are our personal goals, and then business goals. I'm going to condense 28 years of my career with Pampered Chef into this important nugget. If you set business goals without setting personal goals, I can almost guarantee that you will not achieve all your business goals. In other words, if you're simply saying, I want to promote to director, I want to recruit X number of people, I want to earn an excellence award, and you don't set personal goals, you won't achieve all of your business goals. The way that I was able to promote all the way to National Executive Director, which is the highest level of management in our career plan, the way that I was able to earn excellence awards every single year for 28 years in a row, and earn trips, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, earn Circle of Honor 4 times, the highest award in a category in the entire company. The way that I was able to do all of that was by setting personal goals that were important to me. When you're chasing after something that you really want personally, you're far more likely to hang in there and do the hard work that needs to be done. It's really, really easy to talk yourself out of saying, oh, you know what? It's not that important that I promote to director this month. I could do it next month or the month after that. It's not a big deal. But when there's something in your personal life that you really, really want, and that is really important to you, that's a whole different story. And when you're doing what it takes to get that personal goal, you're actually ticking the boxes of your business goal along the way. All right, so at the beginning I said it's important that you decide on the right goal. Let's talk about what is the right goal. A goal that you're going after, and another word for goal is an objective. The objective that you're going after needs to have 2 really important components. Number 1, it needs to be tied to a purpose. In other words, it needs to be tied to something that's really important to you. So what's important to you? Do you have a mission statement? Do you know what you want out of life? For me, it boils down to one simple thing. In fact, I can boil it down to one word. The most important thing to me in life is my family. And so every personal goal that I have set over the last 28 years, in one way or another, benefits my family. Because that's something that motivates me. it motivates me far. My family is far more motivating to me than figuring out what it's going to take to earn the Excellence Award in sales. Do you see what I'm talking about here? So, number one, your goal needs to be tied to your purpose. Now, your purpose doesn't need to be family. We had lots, and at Director Day, we had a really interesting group of totally diverse purposes. Whatever it is, it's got to be something that is really emotional. And here's the criteria. It's got to be emotional. In other words, when you think about this, it's got to really kind of pull at your heartstrings. And that's something my family definitely does to me. It's got to be not only emotional, but it needs to be compelling. And it needs to be crystal clear. Clear and compelling and emotional. That's what ties your goal to that purpose. And then number two, your goal needs to be measurable. In other words, how do you know whether or not you've hit that goal? Let me give you an example. A lot of people make New Year's resolutions to, for example, say, I'm going to lose weight. Number one, you need to know exactly how much weight. But number two, you need to give yourself a deadline. In other words, you're going to lose X number of pounds by what date? That's measurable. And this is critically important to creating the plan to achieve that goal. Right now, you're starting to get the heebie-jeebies. You're like, this is why I hate setting goals, because I hate deadlines. I don't want any part of that. Stick with me, because we're going to take that and break it down so you're not even going to be aware of it. All right? Trust me. Just follow along. Okay? So measurable means that you have a time deadline. Okay. So here's what we're going to do now. We're going to create a plan. And that plan is going to help us achieve our goals. And we're going to use a system called OKRs. So if you were to write OKR, O is objective, K is key, K-E-Y, and R is results. So what are the key results that will let you know that you're on the way to achieving your goal? Okay? I'm going to give you an example, and this is going to break it down step by step. And by the way, this is a real goal, a real objective that I worked towards years ago. So my objective was, excuse me, to celebrate one of my husband's milestone birthdays in a very big way by surprising him with a car that he really, really wanted, but would never buy for himself. So that was my goal, okay? Another word is objective. That's my O. Was celebrate my husband's milestone birthday in a very big way by surprising him with a car he really, really wants but would never buy for himself. Now, going back to the two things that our goal has to be, it has to be tied to our purpose. Well, this is tied to my purpose because it's about my family. Number two, it has to be measurable. Well, this is measurable because I need to have the car by my husband's birthday. So I started this 2 years before his birthday. Okay? And here's my key result number one. I knew that in order to make this happen, I needed to trade in his current car and use that towards the payment for the new car. So key result number one, trade in his current car and use the proceeds of that towards payment for the new car. Key result number two, I needed to earn the remainder of the money so that I could buy this car. And key result number three was I needed to arrange for the dealer, the car dealer, to put one of those gigantic bows on the top of the car and get the car to our house on his birthday. Okay? Does everybody know what I'm talking about when I say one of those great big bows? Okay? I've always been fascinated by them. I wanted one. I was going to make that happen. Okay? So that is my OKR. My objective, get this car by my husband's birthday, trade in his car, earn the remainder of the money, and make sure that car showed up with a bow on it in front of our house. Okay? So that tells us what I'm going to work towards achieving. But it does not tell me how I'm going to achieve it. And that's where the plan comes in. And this is the part that everyone forgets about. They're really good at setting the goal, maybe even giving yourself a deadline, and then nobody creates the plan. And that's the how of earning your goal. So how do you do that? Where do you start? You start backwards. What do I mean by that? I mean, you start at the end. The end result is having this new car and figure out a plan that's going to help you get that. So you start with the end in mind and then formulate a plan of how to achieve that outcome. In other words, in order for me to achieve this objective, exactly what steps do I need to take? So the first thing I needed to do was some research. I didn't know how much that car that he wanted costs. I also had no clue what the car he currently had was worth. And I absolutely had no idea where to get one of those great big bows. Okay? So that was the research I needed to do in order to make this happen. So here's where having a pen and paper in hand would be really helpful. The old car, the new car, The new car I discovered was going to cost $86,000. Okay? His current car was worth $34,000. So if I take 86,000 and I subtract 34,000, there's a residual amount of $52,000 that I had to earn in 2 years. Okay? Now, I took that, in order to develop a plan, I simply took that $52,000 and I divided it by the 24 months that I had to earn that car. And when you divide 52,000 by 24, you get $2,166.67. That's how much I needed to earn every month, or I wouldn't have enough to buy the car. Now, I want to pause here for a second. And some of you might be saying, holy moly, if I was earning $2,166 a month, the last thing I would be worried about is buying a car. I mean, I could pay my mortgage with that. I could pay my utility bills, et cetera, et cetera. You need to know that as National Executive Director, I'm earning a lot more than that. So for you, your goal is going to start out smaller, but I also wanted you to see this because I wanted you to realize that an additional $2,000 a month on top of what I already was earning was totally doable. And what I was already earning was well into 6 figures a year, okay? But again, you're not going to start out with this ambitious of a goal, but the same system works for big goals and little goals. It's just using this system. All right, so back to our example. In order to know where that, how am I going to get that money? Remember, I told you, we need to have a very specific plan. So if I needed to earn $2,167 a month, how many parties was I going to need to do every month in order to get that exact number? And here's where you need to do a little bit of math. It's not really math, it's arithmetic, okay? And if you don't know how to do this, ask your director. Your director knows how to do this, okay? It's not hard, but don't get hung up and say, I can't do this because I don't know how to do the arithmetic. Ask your director. She'll be more than happy to help you. All right, so in order to know exactly how many parties I needed to do to earn that money, I needed to know what my show average was. Not the company's show average, not your show average, my show average, okay? And if I'm averaging together both cooking and virtual, my show average was $750, okay? Now, if I take $750 and multiply that by the commission rate of 30%, I'm earning $225 every time I do a party on average. I want to be clear about that. This is an average, okay? Is everyone with me so far, or are you like, okay, good, awesome. All right, so now I have to figure out how many parties. I'm going to take $2,167 and divide it by $225. And the outcome is 9.6. In other words, 10. I needed to submit 10 average parties every single month in order to earn that amount of money. Make sense? Okay. Now, the next important thing, and this is another reason why people fail and don't earn their goals or achieve their goals, is they say, okay, I need 10, and they go out and book 10. What do we need? I see people shaking their heads. What do you need to do? You need to book, exactly. You need to book more, because we're going to have some cancellations. We're going to have some reschedules. And in order for this to work, I need to do this every single month. So I need to build in for that. Now, a little aside for a moment. If you're a cooking show consultant and you average more than 20% of your parties every month either cancel or reschedule, you have a chronic cancellation problem, and you need to talk to your director about that, because it's a fixable problem. I want to repeat, it's a fixable problem, okay? If you're a virtual consultant and you more than 1/3 of your parties every month cancel, don't happen, or reschedule, you have a cancellation problem. And you need to talk to your director, because it's a fixable problem, okay? And that's the kind of thing that can keep you from achieving your goals. And we don't want that to happen. So in my case, I did not have, I fell within the norm. So I knew that I had to book at least 12 to 13 parties every month in order for me to actually submit those 10. Now, once I have that, the next thing I need to do in creating our plan is I needed to figure out who I was going to either call, text, or direct message to get those parties. So I needed to have a list of people to contact for me to get those parties booked. That I think all of you already know. But here's the part that a lot of you don't do. And that is research the best possible message that you can either leave on a voicemail, text someone, or direct message someone in order to get results. If you are contacting people all the time and you're never getting anyone to contact you back, and then you create this list of people to contact, you contact them and no one contacts you back, you wasted your time. So you need to contact someone, ask your director, what are people texting or leaving in a voicemail message or direct messaging right now that's getting results? Because I will tell you that it varies from month to month because of what we have going on. the host special. Not that you're always going to go just for the host special. If you're relying 100% on host specials to book parties, you're missing the boat. But sometimes the host special is so great that it trumps everything else. In other words, month by month, what is the best possible message that's going to help you get results? All right, then developing our plan, you're going to take you need to have an idea of how many contacts do you need to make in order to actually get a show or a party booked. So this is going to be a little tricky because most people don't keep track of that. I'm going to urge you to start keeping track of that so that you know how many times you need to reach out in order to get a party booked. I'm also going to tell you that when you create your list, the first people on the list are going to be your warm, air quotes here, warm contacts, meaning people who have already expressed an interest in hosting a party with you, but you haven't been able to nail down a date yet, okay? Those people are far more likely to book than if you were to pick up a telephone book and call a random stranger. I think we all understand that, okay? So the first day of contacts, I'll make up a number here, you might contact 10 people and book 4 parties and think, whoa, I have a 40% booking rate. In other words, for every 10 people I contact, I booked 4 parties. No, because those were warm contacts. But in order for me to actually book as many parties as I needed to go beyond warm contacts and start making customer care calls. Now, we don't have enough time in this hour to go over how to make a customer care contact. And when I say call, guys, it's not always a call. Sometimes it's a text, sometimes it's a direct message. I'm using call as a contact, okay? We don't have time to go over that, but it's something that your director would be more than happy to help you with. But just to give you an idea, who are some people who were rock star guests in your party but never booked a party? Who are some people who ordered, placed good big orders, and it's been a little while since they placed that order? Those are the kinds of people you're going to want to reach out to, and you might need some guidance on how to approach them. In other words, what do I say to them? What do I get them to, respond to me? If you're brand new, you're thinking, I don't have any guests to reach out to because I haven't had any parties yet. You're just going to need to make a bigger list of people to contact anyway. In other words, we all had to make a list of people when we first started. You're going to want to make your list longer. That's all. Okay? All right. So I now needed to figure out how many contacts I could make per day. So I'm going to take then, let's pretend I came up with a list of 100 people. I'm going to divide that by, let's say, I'm going to give myself 10 days to get my calendar full. So obviously I'm going to need to make at least 10 contacts every day. Okay, that's just a simple example. You don't have to work 7 days a week. Some of you might only want to work 5 days a week. That's fine. But whatever it is, you're going to actually take the number of contacts, divide it by the number of days, and that's how many contacts you're going to make per day. And then you're going to go to your calendar and schedule the time on your calendar to make those contacts. So for example, let's say you work a full-time job and you also have kids, and Monday nights, Wednesday nights, and Friday nights, I'm making this up, guys, your kids have activities. While they're at gymnastics or dance rehearsal or whatever, maybe, I know when my son was involved in every sport all year long, and my daughter was a competitive horse jumper. Okay, so when they were at practice, that was when I made a lot of contacts. That was when I took that time. I would sit, and that's when your phone is your friend, and use that time. I was still at their practice. I was still able to see what was going on, but I was also working my business because this was important to me. So for example, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, let's say between 6 and 7, they had sports. That was when I was making those contacts. But on Tuesdays and Thursdays, maybe I would be making contacts during the day at lunchtime because I had other things, like cooking shows at night. It's going to vary day by day where you fit it in. But I'm going to tell you this. If you don't put it on your calendar, it will not happen. If you don't put it on your calendar, it will not happen. So it's got to go onto the calendar, okay? All right. Why do I want to do this? Why do I want to take all this time and effort? Because it works. I have to tell you that one of the things that I do is a lot of coaching of my team members. And I was working with a person on my team who really was kind of struggling. And she was tired of struggling. And so I said to her, let's set a goal for you and let's really kind of figure out a plan so you can achieve it. So I asked her, if you could really have one thing, what is that one thing that would be so important to you? And she said, I would love to be able to start a college fund for my son. And I said, okay, great. So I then said, do you mind if I ask you some questions? And she said, sure, no problem. All right. So I said to her, first question I asked was, how old is your son? She said 12. I said, okay, great. I said, is it your goal to fund his college completely or to just contribute towards it? She said, no, I want to fund it completely. I said, okay. I said, what kind of school are you working towards? A private school or a state school? She said, a state school. I then asked this question, and this was a really important question. I said, in state or out of state? And it turns out that it was a state school, but it was not in her state. So her son would be going as an out-of-state student. Why is that important? Because when you go to a state school as an out-of-state student, the tuition is about double. In other words, it's the price of a private school. And the reason that, in fact, she gave me the name of the school. And I said to her, okay, how much does that school cost? And here's what she said. I don't know. And I said, well, then how do you know how much to save? She said, well, I was just planning to save, you know, whatever extra money I had, I was going to throw into a college fund. And, you know, that would be his college fund. And I said, but you just told me that it was really important to you that you fund it completely. I said, we need to find out how much that school costs. I want you to guess. Meanwhile, while she was guessing, I went to my computer and I put the name of the school .edu and / tuition rate. Up comes the tuition rate. Instantly, I had an answer for her. She never bothered to check, okay? And she guessed that the tuition would be $10,000 a year. The actual tuition was $30,000 a year. Big difference. So I said to her, doing it your way, you would be hoping to hit enough to have $10,000 a year, hoping, because you're just throwing whatever extra money you have without a plan, and you're going to be really, really short. I said to her, without even accounting for inflation, and we all know that tuition rates way outpace inflation, you're going to need $120,000 in order to pay for tuition in full if we take the time by the time your son graduates from college. So that's a full 10 years. I said, so assuming that you have those 6 years between 12 and 18 and the 4 years he's in college, you have 10 years to come up with the money. That means you have to save about $12,000 a year or $1,000 per month above and beyond anything else you need to earn from your business. So we created a plan. And I said to her, let's say you decided to put away $200 one month, $300 the next month. Then you decided to splurge on a vacation, so you missed several months, and so on and so on. And let's also say you're operating under the mistaken assumption that you only need $10,000 a year for a total of $40,000 instead of $120,000. You would miss the mark by a minimum of over 200%. And here's the kicker. I said to her, and it just took us a matter of minutes to save a lifetime of disappointment. Just a matter of minutes to figure out what it would take so that she wouldn't be disappointed for the rest of her life. That's what people are not doing. So we figured it out. And by the way, working at that pace, she sold enough to earn excellence awards in sales for the first time ever. Now do you see how setting this business goal can help you achieve your, I'm sorry, setting a personal goal can help you achieve your business goal? It's that important. She was far more willing to work hard for her son than she was to earn an excellence award. So, if you don't believe that this system works, I want you to listen to this. There's hard science that shows why people don't achieve their goals. In 2001, researchers in Great Britain worked with a group of people to build better exercise habits over the course of a few weeks. The subjects were divided into 3 groups. The first group was the control group. They were simply asked to track how much they exercised. The second group was what the researchers called the motivation group. And they were asked not only to track their workouts, but also they were given some material on the benefits of exercise. The researchers explained to the group how exercise could reduce the risk of coronary heart disease and improve heart health. The third group, these people received the same presentation on the benefits of exercise as the second group. However, they were also asked to formulate a plan for when and where they would exercise over the next few weeks. Day by day, exactly when on Tuesday are you going to exercise? Where are you going to exercise? Are you going to the gym? Are you going to go for a run? Are you going to do a video at home? Exactly where and when. Day by day. After receiving the instructions, the researchers let the groups go. The result? In the first and second group, 35 to 38% of the people exercised at least once a week. So, interestingly, the motivation that they got made no difference to results. A lot of times I'll save that for later. No difference. Now, here's the mind-blowing result. 91% of group 3 exercise at least once a week. Almost triple the rate of the first 2 groups. Simply because they had a plan. They knew exactly when and where they were going to exercise. And they followed through. Why? Because rather than try to sit there and think, oh, should I go for a run? Should I go to the gym? Should I do a video? I don't know. and then I'll think about it, and then the phone rings, your kids come in, a million things happen, and it doesn't wind up happening. By having that exact plan, results happened. So when we beat ourselves up that we don't have enough willpower, it's not willpower that helps you achieve your goal. It's a plan that helps you achieve your goal. The plan is the difference. So I went through a lot of information, and I promised that I would leave you some time at the end to ask questions. This is your chance to ask questions. Obviously, you're going to need to unmute yourself. I'd love to hear your impressions. Did this hit home for anyone who's tried to achieve an important goal and not succeeded because you realize now you didn't have a plan? I'm all yours. No questions.
Carol, can I just add how this, with my, just some of my personal things that I was going for. So when I was hearing this information, as some of you know, we have 6 acres of land that we would like to build on. And we've had this land for a few years now. And it has been my goal to try to set money back so that, we can build a new house, and the biggest thing is we have some debt, some school loans and things that we would like to pay off before we start.
You're muted, Melody. You muted, somehow hit, yeah, now you're unmuted.
There we go. So I had, we had just been putting some of our money back towards the goal of paying off this debt every month. And the biggest impact and thing that I saw,
your aha moment.
My biggest aha moment, okay, is when I realized, oh my, like, I didn't have an exact plan of how much I needed to be saving every month to go towards this goal. I had just said, kind of like Carol was giving that other example. Oh, well, we had an extra 1,000 this month. We'll put that back. We have an extra 2,000 this month. We'll put that back. But if you think about the goal of what I needed overall, there was a certain amount that had to be done if my goal is to have this paid off by Christmas. Okay. And so it was just such a moment of, holy cow, like for a couple years now, we've been just saving money, and paying this stuff off, but without an exact number, an exact plan of, what I need to do. So coming up with the plan was a huge part of this for me. And Carol, are you going to talk about that part at all? The number part of it? Oh, sorry.
The number part of your plan?
No, just how for them to.
Well, I think, with the car example, we took it all the way down to what you needed to do day by day. So let me give you another example. I used this system with one of my directors who is not, I said to her, she was kind of floundering. And I said to her, what's something that's really important to you right now? She said, what's really important to me is summer is coming. This was obviously in the winter. She said, summer is coming. She has 2 little kids. And she said, I want to earn enough money to have a great big swing set / jungle gym built in our backyard so that the kids, you know, will be able to play all summer. So I said to her, okay, let's figure it out. The first thing you need to do is find out what that's going to cost. Exactly how much money do you need to get the swing set / jungle gym that you want? What is it going to cost to get it installed? Take that amount. And she did. She got back to me. And then we took that amount. We took the number of months she had until the beginning of summer to earn that money. And we calculated a plan. We took her show average to figure out exactly how much she earns per party. And then we took that and divided it into, just like I did with the car example, divided it into the price of the swing set, and then divided it by the number of months she had to earn it. And guess what? One day I was actually out and about running errands, and I hear, you know, that I have a text message, and I look at my phone and there's this picture of 2 adorable little boys hanging off of the jungle gym in her backyard. She did it. And she said to me, I would have wasted all of those months kind of floundering around, not really doing anything, taking whatever came my way party-wise, rather than going out and getting what I needed to get what I want. And that's what I said at the beginning. The difference between getting what you want out of life and having life just pass you by, and you are just like, oh, you know, think about 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now, depending on how old you are. Do you want to look back and say, wow, I really blew it? Or do you want to look back and say, wow, I wouldn't change a thing? That's what it boils down to, guys. Look, I'm no smarter than you. I'm no better than you. I'm not. I just took my goals, worked out a plan, and then went for it. And as a result, it has not only changed my life, but way more importantly to me, it's changed my family's life forever. Forever. Any other questions, comments? Anybody feel like they have an idea, but they need help? Because that's where you need to talk to your director to get that plan in place. Okay, Melody, it's all yours.
All right, guys. Well, I hope that you will take this. And if you did not originally write down your goal that you have, I really hope that you will make sure that you have that, because without a goal, and like she was saying, a heartfelt goal that makes you tug at those heartstrings, like when I think about my goal, like I literally started crying, you know, at the meeting with Carol, because that's how much it means to me to get into that house and into our land and pay this stuff off. So breaking it down month by month, having a plan was so important. That's something I didn't do. I was just saying, okay, well, whatever's extra at the end of the month, we will, we'll go towards it. And that wasn't a good enough plan, And so really seeing that has made all the difference, and knowing an exact number of what I need to do every month. So that, I just really encourage you, if you guys have not really thought about what you want from this business and come up with that goal, to do that, and then look at it and break it down. When do I want to achieve this goal by? And then start going backwards with it, like Carol was saying, and figure out month by month what you need to do in order to achieve that.
I just want to make a quick comment. Yvette, you're absolutely right that this goal setting information can apply to all types of goals. You're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm. Tony, you want to share yours with us?
Oh my goodness. You want me to make everyone
We'll cry alongside you.
We'll cry with you, girl. It's okay.
Okay. I made a goal for this year. I have about 9 months left to put it to work, and I have started on it. And when it hit me was at Director Day, because I just came back from the worst, the most lonely Christmas season I've ever had. And, our kids are moved out, and it's just my husband and I. So, I decorate our house, to the nines, and I love doing that. And I usually have someone to do it with me, to make cookies, all this stuff. So I was on my own, and it just felt like a job this year, and it broke my heart. My family, we love each other, but we were all so busy last year. My son lives down the street, and I saw him maybe 5-6 times last year. That's not right. So at that meeting, I was like, I'm gonna make Christmas different this year, because my family is my everything. And if I'm not celebrating my family, if my family's just a holiday family, why am I working, So my goal is to take my family to New York City for Christmas, and to show them New York Christmas. And I know it's going to cost, I have a little bit in savings, but I need probably about $6,000 more. I've done the research on the hotels and things like that, and I want to stay at a nice hotel. I want to stay near everything, and so we calculated, and we have a family meeting on Sunday, because I'm going to teach my kids what Carol taught me.
Oh, Tony, can I give you a hug? Oh my gosh, I love you.
Yeah, we are gonna make them, set OKRs, and if they need spending money for New York, they're gonna have to bring the spending money. So, I'm bringing my own shopping money, but they need theirs, right? So, it's a huge life lesson, and I'm glad I've learned it this year. It's awesome. So thank you. And, I can just imagine my family there at the tree lighting ceremony, or watching the Rockettes, or going to see a good show, just all that. And so that will mean more to me than opening presents on Christmas morning.
Absolutely.
So.
And the fact that this is what I'm talking about when I said it has to be emotional and tied to your purpose. Tony 100% gets it. Absolutely gets it. But what this is going to do, Tony, is help tick boxes for business goals along the way.
Yeah.
Because you're going to work harder for that trip than you will for any excellence award bracelet or
Amen.
whatever.
Very true.
And for you to teach it to your kids, oh my gosh, that is phenomenal. Because
Yeah.
you're going to not only change your life, you're going to change their lives.
And I wish I could have taught it to them when they're teens, but I mean, they're in their 20s, so perfect time.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Love it. Guys, don't be intimidated if you don't have a gigantic goal like buying an $86,000 car. It could be a swing set. It could be, you know, getting, paying off. One of my first goals was just paying off one of our cars early as a birthday gift to my husband. That was before the purchase of the car. Was, you know, it could be anything, but think about it, because I'm here to tell you that this business does have the ability to change your life and your family's life forever. So thank you, Melody, for the opportunity.
Thank you, Carol. So I know that this really changed my mindset of this business. So I knew it was important enough that I wanted you to share with others. So thank you for being on here. And you are awesome as usual, and we really appreciate you. So thank you, guys. And thank you, all of you that are on here. And I really, really hope that you will choose to apply some of these things now instead of waiting 8 years to find this out like I did. So it's very, very helpful information. So, all right, guys, we'll have a great evening, and I will be flying out Thursday morning for Paris. Okay, so I know a lot of my directors are they're gonna step in, and they're gonna be here to help in any way possible. Drawing, yes, thank you. Did you have that? Is she still on here?
Thanks, Carol.
My pleasure.
Did Leslie, are you still on here? Leslie may not be on here anymore. Okay, I will get it from Leslie. I'll message her because I'm sure she already did it, and then I will announce it. So I'm reading yours, Kelly.
Yeah, that's a great goal.
Awesome.
I love that.
Yep.
Kelly gets it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. That's
This
awesome.
was great.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thank you all. I appreciate y'all. And let's have a great month.
And au revoir.
Yes. Carol, there's so many words I don't know.
Usela de Bion. Usela de Bion.
That's
Remember that. Remember that.
Remember, we worked on this, and I still, yeah. I'll have to find the bathroom on my own. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.